Well, they just couldn't help themselves, can't they? They really had to go after Gina Carano. The news of Gina Carano being fired from Lucasfilm was maybe about a month ago. And then she went to go work for, or rather with Ben Shapiro at the Daily Wire. But these people, man, they really can't let go. Talk about losers. Talk about losers. Um, Big example here. Former Senator Heidi Heidkamp goes on to Bill Maher's show. I think this is last Friday because Bill's show is usually on Friday nights. So I'm just gonna show this to you. This kind of pisses me the hell off.
I like this picture. What was the woman in the Mandalorian? What did she do? She liked something? Or...
She was a Nazi.
Oh, that's different,
Yeah.
right? I'm thinking of somebody else. Well, she's not a Nazi.
She's a white. She's
See, look at that. You
white
say you're calling her.
She's called other people Nazis.
Nick Gillespie of Reason Magazine, you're calling Gina Carano Nazi? Really? For a libertarian? Really, dude?
Right. Which
She's the Nazi.
Okay, everyone's a Nazi now.
Yeah.
She does hang with white supremacists.
It's like a Mel Brooks.
Does?
Yeah.
Hangs with white.
I suppose I'm now subject to defamation.
I don't know. I mean, it depends on what your definition of white supremacist is. That also, the goalpost there changed a lot. Used to be a guy in a Klan hood who.
But I think we have to be really careful. There's two things the Republicans think they're going to get Biden on: cancel culture and this whole Dr. Seuss stuff that's going on, where they're reading Green Eggs and Ham, proving that some of these senators can actually read, and immigration, and so we can't ignore the fact that we got Donald Trump.
I heard Donald Trump there. In the end, I swear, these people cannot get over the fact that they lost the 2016 election. They won the 2018 election for the House. Now they have control over all two branches of government. And yet they still can't get over the fact that Donald Trump beat them in the 2016 election. Talk about sore losers. I'm a Republican, and you don't see me being sore after losing the election last year. Okay? All of us came out against those people that protested at the Capitol. Okay? All of us did. All of us condemned all the violence. We do not want violence. This is not what this country is all about. Yet these people cannot fathom of letting go of Donald. He's like a drug to them, But back to this. Really, Heidi Heidkamp, calling Gina Carano a Nazi. That's a far shift of the Overton window from where we're at. And even Bill Maher is even calling her out. Probably in his mind is probably saying this is ridiculous. The goalpost has shifted everywhere. Yes, you're right, Bill. It has shifted. And thank you. Welcome to the party. We've been talking about this for a long time. There was a wise man that once said that politics is downstream from culture. Well, here's a good example right here. A former senator, a loser senator, calling out Gina Carano's post, which, by the way, does not call anybody Nazis, a Nazi. And yet, whatever Gina Carano posted has nothing to do with that. It was calling out people who are complicit in being politically violent. And she is essentially trying to call a stop to all the political violence on all sides. And I condemn violence on all sides. But this is how it is. This is where the culture is at. We are being slowly cooked like frogs in a pot. And if this is Heidi Heidkamp talking about this, well, who is Heidi Heidkamp? Well, let's take a look at Heidi Heidkamp right here. Heidi Heidkamp, the loser senator from North Dakota. She lost her election by about, I think it was 6% last time. Right here. And look at how they describe her. Here she is. Political positions. Heidi Heidkamp has been described as a moderate Democrat. She was considered a centrist and often supported bipartisan legislation. If this is a centrist, if this was a moderate Democrat calling people who she has no idea who they are, She has no idea what they posted a Nazi. Then what does that what does that place our culture in? Where is the Overton window now? This doesn't bode well for our republic. This doesn't bode well for our country. I love this country. I came into this country when I was 9 years old. I didn't understand it fully back then. My parents left another country, and because this country offered us a future. It offered us an opportunity to be able to be more than what our old country has could give us. And by the grace of God, I was able to do that. But here we are. We have people slowly trying to erode everything that made this country great. And you have Heidi Heidkamp right in the middle of that. And I will call her out. I also call it Nick Gillespie from Reason Magazine for not defending Gina Carano. Really, bro? Come on. Like, you of all people should know that libertarians, you guys get called, Nazis, even though you're not. Is Ron Paul a Nazi? Ron Paul's not a Nazi. That guy advocated for peace. This came today from somebody who I actually know, Alan West. He's the chairman of the Texas Republican Party of Texas, and he recently showed up in Tim Pool's podcast, Timcast IRL. You should catch his episode. Actually, that was a very good episode. But he talks about something that I think is very relevant to what's going on right now. And with Heidi Heidkamp just going off on Gina like that, you know what? Our it looks like it's doomed right now. It looks like it's doomed. She's talking about that Republican senators could barely read. But has she ever really even tried to have a conversation with all of us? From what I hear, the Democrats do not even want to have this conversation. They're on the offensive. They're on the offensive in the culture. They're on offensive in politics. That's because they have the upper hand. They hold the narratives. And there's one thing I'm very critical of Republicans and conservatives about, and that is we have let go of the keys to our institutions. We've let go of the keys to our culture, our media, our arts. We do not create anymore. We just react in politics. What good is our work in politics if we do not influence the culture? We do what we can to go out there and knock on doors. Yet every time everybody hears the word Republican, they kind of recoil. They do that with Democrats already. But as you could tell, after 4 years of hammering President Trump, they as much as they hate the Democrats, you got a minute, they kind of hated Trump more, and that's why a lot of them voted for that guy in office right now, Joe Biden, President Biden. Let's go into this message from Alan West, because I think this is very relevant to what's going on right now. And he quotes Ayn Rand here. Now, I'm no follower of Ayn Rand. I like some of her works, but I'm very critical of Ayn Rand, especially in terms of faith. And a lot of other things. There's a lot of things I do not like about Ayn Rand, but she is absolutely correct about here. The uncontested absurdities of today are the accepted slogans of tomorrow. They come to be accepted by degrees, by dint of constant pressure on one side and constant retreat on the other, until one day when they are suddenly declared by the countries to be the country's official ideology. What he's basically talking about here is that we're all frogs in a slow boil. So there's a fable about frogs. They're placed in a pot, and the heat is slowly being ticked up by degrees because they're being cooked. The wisdom to that is that if they're suddenly put on the fire and the water suddenly just turn hot, that the frogs will realize what is going on and they'll jump out of the pot. But if the fire is being ticked up slowly, degree by degree by degree, soon they will not even realize that they were already being cooked and will be eaten. And he says it here. So it is when one considers the aforementioned quote of Ayn Rand Those uncontested absurdities which go unchallenged are accepted in degrees. And in America, that which we have considered absurd once upon a time has slowly become the accepted norm. The critical ingredient that enables this fundamental transformation is the constant, incessant pressure of one side and the complete retreat, surrender, and acquiescence of the other side. America is witnessing the most absurd, which is quickly becoming the official ideology of our constitutional republic, and it is because a loud radical minority has been relentless. In contrast, a majority has been silent, reticent, and recalcitrant to stand on principle. So, and he talks a lot about the socialist left, which I'm not going to focus here. My focus is strictly on what we saw here. And this is what we saw. This is where we're at. First, it was punch Nazis. And then we saw a lot of the violence in the streets. And granted, there was some violence before, but to the level when President Trump was in office, against Republicans and conservatives, it was a lot. And nobody in the media cared about it. And now you have people like this loser senator here, Heidi Heidkamp, calling Gina Carano the N-word. How long until somebody tries to go out there and attack Gina? Which, granted, she's an MMA fighter and will probably beat whoever they attacks her to a pulp. But this is where we're at. And if Republicans and conservatives don't wake up soon, if the moderate public don't wake up soon to this kind of attitude from your people that control your culture and your institutions, then this country is lost. I'm sorry. Well, that's all I have for today. I got pretty upset when I heard this because this is from a former senator, somebody who should be respected, yet does not show any respect to people. I'll see y'all next time.